Hi, Collective. Welcome back to Love, Light, and Life Affirmed, your daily affirmations for self love and growth. Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. So, you guys, this is our general collective message that I post for you guys at the end of the week on Fridays, where I just want to connect with you guys, see how your week has gone, see what's going on in your energy, see what you guys may be dealing with in your relationships and your life as far as your goals, and just see if I can give you some helpful advice. I'm also going to, pull some oracle cards for you guys, just give you guys some words of encouragement at the end, just to remind you guys of how strong and resilient you really are. So, you guys, this week I'm going to start with Soul Symphony, just to see what's going on in the general energy in the collective, and we'll go from there. So welcome back, all of my current followers and subscribers at the bottom of the deck. Hi, my divine masculines. Are you guys being protectors? Are you taking action towards your goals at this time? Keeping rational minds, being good providers to the people that you love? I know that you are. There's a lot of masculines subscribe to my channel, and I truly appreciate your love and support. Thank you guys for allowing me to give you guys advice, to remind you of how amazing you guys really are. You guys are definitely staying at the bottom of the deck. You guys are seen. I know that there are a lot of divine feminines excited about the group of divine masculines that are currently awakening at this time, stepping into their power, starting to feel again from their heart space after healing from a lot of childhood trauma, choosing to be better instead of bitter so that they can show up and show out again for the people who truly deserve their love and respect, so that everyone can start to attract towards them people who deserve to be loved and respected. I'm really proud of the collective right now at this time. So again, thank you guys for allowing me to be here with you on your journey and help you along the way. Welcome back, all of my current followers and subscribers. Thank you guys for all your love and support. Love you guys to the moon and back. All of the incoming followers and subscribers, welcome into the channel, you guys. Make sure when you hit that subscription bell, make sure to select the arrow and select all, just so you don't miss any of the other messages that I do post. I know that a lot of you guys are in different time zones than I am. So I know eventually you will see the messages, even if you don't catch them as soon as I post them. But I always pray that the messages are useful for you either way. And thank you guys so much for the confirmations. Thank you guys for the love and support of the channel. Thank you for the Cash App, the Venmos, the purchases from the Etsy shop, you guys. It is greatly appreciated. I love connecting with you guys. So let's see what's going on in the general energy of the collective. Let's just see. Let's tap in. Communication. Okay. Yeah. Communication is definitely coming in at this time during Mercury retrograde. Can't you tell it's here, you guys? I feel like there is going to be a lot of communication happening, between a lot of people from your past, people who you are currently in connections with, friends from the past. There's going to be a lot of communications coming in and people having a lot of things to say. Some of these things are going to be good, some are not going to be that great, but maybe it's information that you've been waiting for, clarity that you've been wanting, collective, that's finally going to be coming in, whether through call, a voicemail, a text message, email. You may have some of these people blocked, so they will find ways to reach out in any way they can in order to get a message to you, whether that is also through, people that you know mutually. But communication definitely is big right now in this winter season. Let's see what else is going on. So there's a lot of people who are not in good energy at this time, seeking revenge, which is very interesting because, I mean, you would think by now people would realize that it never really gets them anywhere good. But I think, you know, when people are in that negative headspace, whether it's ego, pride, entitlement, you know, being heartbroken, just emotionally hurt, drained, just, having a childish mindset, whatever the case may be as far as their reasons. Again, it just points to the fact that healing is needed. I feel like most of the time people in this energy don't understand that really all they need is to be comforted. Communication is also helpful. I think people seek revenge and act out instead of communicating when they're hurt. Maybe because they're not good at expressing themselves. Maybe, even starting from childhood, they were not able to express their emotions in a healthy way, or their emotional expression was not received in a healthy way. They were probably told to keep their feelings to themselves, or their emotions didn't matter, or made to feel like their emotions didn't matter. The reason why when things don't go their way, they feel like they need to act out in the ways that they do. Seeking revenge, again, it never gets them anywhere positive. It's always a setback of some sort, because deep down at the end of the day, they're really just seeking to be loved, to be seen, to be heard, for people to feel the pain that they feel. And people could connect with them in this way if they were willing to open up and be vulnerable. But most of the time, ego and pride gets in the way, which turns into resentment, which turns into anger, which turns into rage, and unfortunately turns into people paying a price that they were not ready to pay. And sometimes it's just too late. I feel like everybody deserves a chance to express themselves in a healthy way, even if they are angry. But seeking revenge, it never really works out the way that people intend to. Yeah, most of the time people receive signs, when their thoughts begin to get out of control. Usually they receive guidance from a higher power, but most of the time they choose to ignore it. Everybody has a role to play in this lifetime. Spiritual contracts. Hello, Mercury retrograde. Spiritual contracts. But a lot of the times people get signs in all kind of ways, whether that is through songs, music, you know, telepathic signs, have dreams. But again, it's about if people choose to pay attention to these signs or ignore them. Fate and destiny are based on the actions of the person, because free will is a thing. I think in those moments of being angry and feeling rage, again, I feel like people forget that even though they may feel that deep down, they don't realize the actions that they take will affect the other people in their lives who truly care for them, who truly love them. Maybe they haven't really felt truly loved or cared for again. Maybe that's why it's so easy to feel vengeful. Maybe they truly feel alone, even in the spaces of being around others. But their lack of vulnerability, or willingness to express themselves in a healthy way, be open about the resentment that they've been feeling for a very long time causes them to act out in ways that sometimes they can't come back from, putting them in situations they later regret, feel guilt and remorse over sometimes, depending on the mind of the person, because not everybody truly feels emotions. Terms, negotiating with, begging, working out. There might be somebody collective that wants to come back to you and work something out, negotiate with you, come to terms with a situation. But maybe this person right now is feeling pretty angry with this revenge here. So maybe this is why the communication that may be on its way has not made its way to you quite yet. Maybe it's not meant to at this time. Maybe with these signs, maybe you have someone who is trying to work on healing from within, trying to work on not feeling so vengeful, so angry, trying to connect with self, because maybe they are receiving signs that it is time to, maybe after a lifetime of being angry, of having childhood wounds and trauma that were not able to be resolved, maybe they are choosing to resolve them, coming to terms with what is, accepting something for what it is, and maybe understanding that their behavior towards you was something that wasn't seen in such a great light. Maybe they feel like in order for you to see them, connect with them, talk to them, they will have to beg for your connection, your communication again. Maybe they feel like they don't deserve your forgiveness, but they were so angry. But the anger came from their own patterns in their own life. They enjoyed seeing other people miserable because deep down, this is how they felt. It felt good to them to know that other people felt what they felt deep down. Even though they smiled all the time, there was an angry child deep within, always, never satisfied. Angry because they never truly felt loved or nurtured in the way that they saw others loved and nurtured. And so when other people seemed to be happy, heartfelt, heart filled with love and joy, they did what they could to break them, to take it away, to see them sad and in misery like they felt. And unfortunately, it gave them some sense of satisfaction to do this. Maybe this is something that they are coming to terms with, and with their head bent down, they feel some sense of shame, maybe guilt, because if they are healing, these are what you feel going through your dark night of the soul. You look at your shadow self, the ugly parts. Fire sign energy, Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, could be involved in this situation. This could be your signs collective. The person we are addressing, their signs, or have it somewhere in their chart or your chart. But there is, again, a lot of rage, a lot of fire energy. Yeah, there was a lot of mind games, heartstrings being pulled, manipulation, because there was so much anger and resentment. Like I said, this person, they didn't like to see your heart full, you satisfied in matters of love, feeling loved by others, admired by others. So instead, they played mind games. They took advantage of that beautiful heart of yours and played with your feelings, strung you along, made you feel insecure, made you feel down about yourself, or that was the goal. And in those moments where they feel like they had you, it made them feel some level of joy. Hmm. Yeah, it was a risk. It was a huge risk that they took in doing this, not understanding the consequences of their actions. Definitely unsafe decisions were made. They were not thinking, because it was not about thought or logic. It was about ego and pride and emotional satisfaction, their level of emotional satisfaction. So they didn't realize that the loss that they would feel, the risk that they took, would cause a greater loss than that they could ever imagine. They lost their partner, a true connection, because they could not see it for what it truly was, still being broken in their heart space. They only saw you happy. The deadline came for them to right this wrong, apologize, to communicate. Their time ran out, so now they are on edge. There's no more time that is going to be wasted. You are no longer waiting, collective, for an apology to come in, communication to come in from someone who seemed to only want to see you miserable because they were miserable. You saw the signs, collective. You could see their pain, the hurt in their eyes, but you still chose to approach them with an open heart, your heart wide open, out in the open for them to grasp. But they held back. They never came towards you with love in the way that you hoped. They were indecisive. They procrastinated. They would prefer the mind games and to feeling like they had control over your emotions. That is what made them feel satisfied. There was no thoughts of coming into a divine union, of a reconciliation, of a second chance to rebuild something that deep down both of you knew could have been beautiful. But it takes two whole people giving to a connection to bring out the fire, the passion. One person with fire within, love in their heart, can never truly connect with one with revenge in their heart, sorrow, pain, mistrust, deception. This was meant to be a divine union, because deep down it was what this person wished for, what they wanted, what they've always wanted and unconsciously prayed for. But when they had you, they played your heart like a puppet. They put strings on the edges and twiddled their fingers to make you feel how they wanted you to feel, which was exactly how they felt: mistrust, insecure, broken. Instead of seeing this heart as whole, ready to pour into them ready to connect with them truly and deeply, to show them what unconditional love truly feels like, that they were not alone in this lifetime, that they did deserve love, even if they couldn't see it, even if they were never given it properly. But unfortunately, that neglect, that emotional neglect from childhood that never got healed, created someone who never felt satisfied. Someone who was always given the bare minimum when it came to matters of the heart, so that is what they gave. There was never true reciprocation. People in their life always took from them. So value was based on what they could provide, not the love in their heart, not the love that they could give, not based on nurturing connections. So a heart was just something to be manipulated, not cherished, not protected, not appreciated, not admired. While your heart yearned to run away, to get away, to be in union with this person who you saw down in their soul what they truly needed. Thoughts of being able to get away and be alone together, you felt would heal this person, would give them an opportunity to get out of the shark tank where it was so cutthroat. There was no feelings of nurturing, of love, of care. It was all about what they could give, what they could obtain from others that made them feel valuable. Love was missing. But you saw behind their eyes what nobody else could see, collective. And they knew it. They knew it. So again, they are ready to come back with some level of communication, phone call, a visit. Maybe they've been riding by your house trying to get more information about where you are currently. Because they know they threw this connection in the trash by the way that they treated you. And the only option you had was to throw away all of the memories that you thought were valuable, that meant so much to you, but you felt by their actions meant nothing. So you let them go. And you prayed for their healing. You always prayed and hoped that they would get better, that they would start to see their own value, because you could not handle the clown behavior anymore, the humiliation. Yeah. The realization of a lost connection creates anger, rage. It's overwhelming when you realize that you've lost something so beautiful. And it's because of those unhealed childhood wounds that they always ran away from. So, what's the advice? Is there a way to heal this connection or heal the relationship here, collective? Let's see. What would be your advice? What strengths and abilities would you need in order to heal yourself in this situation? To maybe heal the connection, if that's an option, because not everybody's going to want to communicate with someone from their past. But I can tell you there is guilt here. Yes, feelings of guilt. Because they're now realizing that they could have had something stable with you, like the roots of a tree. A stable connection could have been built between the two of you. What's the advice? Yeah, like I said, there is a chance for commitment here. Long-term success. But again, the hesitation with making decisions, not committing fully to a path towards a union, a connection that was felt between the both of you. Caused the separation. Confirmation, union. Like I said, there was a chance for true union here between the two of you. Your connection to the universe is stronger than you think. Have you felt disconnected? They had not connected with their higher self in a very long time. So connecting with you, collective, in the 3D in a meaningful way, they could not comprehend. Again, they were so used to survival, not being vulnerable, allowing their pride and ego to lead, not ever taking accountability for how their actions affected others, not understanding their connection between their childhood trauma and who they were now as an adult, and their behaviors, and how those behaviors truly affected those around them. Like I said, their value was always based on what they could provide, not who they were. So they couldn't even appreciate who they were as an individual, how amazingly unique and precious they were in their authenticity. This was not something that the people in their life cherished or taught them to cherish. So they held on to this as something to be insecure about. So they didn't even really see themselves. And maybe it was too late to. Maybe no matter how big your heart was, it was not going to get them to see that this could have been a very sacred union. We have union out here 3 times. This was a very, very strong soul connection. 2 powerful forces that were meant to unite, whether in a relationship or within the self. Union was meant to happen here. It would have brought so much energy and growth. It would have turned that once cold heart space in their chest into a blossoming, red, warm, pulsing heart full of emotions, connecting to the feelings. But I think this scared them because they have repressed their feelings and emotions for so long, have been able to put on a mask and hide how they truly feel about most things, especially things that made them feel vulnerable, that they did not know how to reconnect. Because that meant they would have to go deeper and understand in order to transform. Hope is needed. Light in the darkness is needed. Acceptance of the situation is needed. And respect of oneself is needed in order to fight through what has always been, in order to come back out on the other side better. You have to accept what is, what was. In order to move forward, you have to allow yourself to heal. The bottom of the deck. Process emotions and accept the fact that your past has shaped who you are today, but it doesn't define you. It doesn't have to define you forever. That is a choice. That is always a choice, collective, that you have to choose. And you will have people in your life who try to make you feel like there is no way that you could become something different, something better, that you can grow, that you can truly transform into this beautiful butterfly, this higher version of self. But that is the test that you face that will let you know if you are truly ready. Because if you are truly ready to transform and grow, heal, and evolve, no test will stop you. You will pass every test with flying colors because you will know that it is because people see that you are growing beyond their reach. So they will try to keep you right where you are. It's just a test. And I believe that most of the people in my collective are smart enough to see a test. If you went through school and you were good at taking tests, life is the ultimate. Let me give you a message from the archangels. Then I'll give you some encouraging final words, collective. Give me an archangel that the collective can call on in this moment of being tested, of wanting to grow. Archangel Nithiel, angel of eternal youth, feeling whole, healing sun and star energy, reversal of degenerative disease, and pain free. Some of you guys have felt so much emotional pain that it has turned into physical pain because of the lack of healing. Number 41 could be significant. The number 5, which is about change. Archangel Nithael, I send healing starfire to burn away feelings of separation from source, which is the root cause of all disease, of all dis-ease. garnet, the crystal. The month of December is going to be important this year, and things are improving. So sometimes when things are seemingly falling apart, it means that they are improving. It means that they are pushing you in the direction that you're supposed to be going in. Capricorn energy, being responsible and disciplined is going to be important at this time. Angel of eternal youth, going back to that place where you were innocent before you were first heartbroken, before the trauma. Zeus energy, directed goals achievement, finding that heart space that's not tainted, that's not broken, that hasn't been stabbed, stomped on, abandoned. It's time to go back to that place so you can heal. It's possible to heal a connection between two, but it takes two healed people deciding that they are ready to write another chapter together. And again, this doesn't have to be romance only, this could be in friendship and family. But the bottom line is, it takes two people acknowledging their flaws, taking accountability for their actions, accepting who they are at this moment, but understanding that it doesn't define them, that there is a chance to change, to grow if they choose it, but understanding also that they will be met with resistance. So, what's your final words of encouragement that I can give the collective? What are the final words of encouragement I can give the collective? My healing doesn't have to look heroic. Exactly. Healing takes time. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it right every day, all the time, every single moment. It is just about acknowledging and choosing. In stillness, my truth becomes louder. Taking the time to calm the noise, the chaos, take a moment with self to listen. You find truth. That's where you gain your perspective. That's where growth happens, in the stillness. Yes, my softness is not weakness, it is sacred power. Vulnerability is never weakness. It is true strength to understand that in order to be vulnerable, you have to be strong, because it means you have to allow someone else in. I surrender the outcome, but stay with the process. Releasing control is needed. Allowing the changes to occur, almost going through a grief process of acceptance, being angry, processing emotions, but surrendering and allowing that transformation to happen, that growth to occur. I don't know, collective, I feel like this message had a lot of information. I feel like it connected to a lot of you in a lot of different situations, but with a lot of the same feelings and emotions that most of us feel when we've dealt with betrayal and heartbreak and we've lost people close to us. It's hard to feel like you can't fix a situation with someone who you truly loved, were in love with, because you realize that everybody has free will, that although people try and are successful at times at manipulating others, most of the time it ends up failing because they end up losing something that they truly, really wanted. Because at the time of their manipulation and control, they could not see how precious the connection truly was. So everybody ends up feeling pain on some level, loss. So again, healing a connection between two is going to take two healed people. It doesn't matter if one person desires it, if the other person does not. And that is a hard pill to swallow, a hard truth. But if you can accept that, then you can move forward. You can forgive yourself and decide to still move forward and not sit in the pain, not feel resentment and feel like you need revenge and be angry. You will forgive not only yourself, but the other person who you know deep down has a good heart, a good soul, 9 times out of 10, but just is broken and lost. But they're not ready to change. They're not ready to connect, to feel love, real love, to give it to themselves. Maybe they just need more time. But at the end of the day, love is infinite. It is always available whenever people decide that they are ready for it. All right, collective. That's what I have for you guys for the collective message. I pray that it was useful, purposeful, gave you some food for thought. Maybe it helped you in understanding somebody that you were connected with or are connected with and maybe what they are dealing with. If it resonated, I would love to know about it. Hit that like button, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me. But until next time, you guys, bye.